Hello, friends, and welcome to Coached by Tara, a podcast where Tara
Hi, that's me.
explains different stories and pop culture things to me that I have no clue about. We're starting with the Twilight series. Also, I'm Mike, by the way. Forgot to mention that one.
Oh, yeah. Hi.
You may know me from famous things as the Ansem Report podcast and also twitch.tv/Super SpikeGhetti Bros. And also youtube.com/c/Super SpikeGhetti Bros, where you will find me. But I'm here today to be taught things by Tara, who is looking lovely today.
Thank you.
And she has a nice Carhartt hat on that I bought her.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Before we get into...
I'm cold, so, I got to bundle up.
Right, it's getting cold here in Michigan. Similar to the world of Twilight.
True.
Except I was told it's becoming spring. So
It's kind of springish, I feel like.
Before we get into chapter 6, which I don't know what it's named, we have a couple emails to read. You guys can always reach us at cbterrapodcast@gmail.com, like our good friend Corinne did. Tara, do you want to go ahead and read this?
Yes, I will read this. It says, hey, 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 as the subject line, I think. I don't really know how subject lines work on the new. Because it's big.
Mm-hmm. Hey is right.
Okay, anyways, it says, hi guys, sending this email because I just finished episode 3 and I swear I love this podcast more and more each week. I'm really excited to go on this journey with you both, and I'm super excited for the content of the future as well. Hashtag Team Carlisle, hashtag Edward is pedo tier, hashtag Jacob who. I like that.
Edward is pedo tier?
Oh, I liked Edward a lot, especially at the like when I was first reading them. I was really obsessed with Edward. I am Team Edward, but also Team Carlisle for sure.
Carlisle's probably my favorite vampire I've met so far.
But then she sent a meme and it's a picture of Carlisle and it says, "You can keep your apple, I'll take the doctor." And she captioned it "Swag Daddy."
All right.
Best Corinne, aka DJ Corn in the house.
Thank you, DJ Corn. We appreciate you. Thank you for the wonderful
thank you
email.
So much. That's really nice.
And then we have another
totally
email
true.
From our good friend Sean.
Yes.
Who's been recapping how he feels about Twilight as he goes with it through us.
So thanks for giving us your input again, Sean. Let's take a look at what you said. So it says chapter 3. Oh, wow. You have a lot to say. I hate her and Mike, long-time listener, second-time caller.
Appreciate the call, Sean.
I'm continuing to punish myself by listening along with the audiobook. Although I will say that the plot picking up a little is a welcome relief. I agree with that. I'm loving the podcast and eagerly await every week for a new episode. Keep up the great work, and without further ado, my chapter 3 stream of consciousness? Stream
would be
okay.
The correct way to put that.
So it says, all right, Bella, calm down. He just put snow chains on. Oh, it's this scene. I know this scene. Damn, Edward is clearly a vampire. Also, what's the morality of him clearly trying to hypnotize her into forgetting what happened? Did she get a police escort because of her father? What if someone's getting murdered by one of the many vampires that live in this town? Shouldn't the police have more important things to do? Oh, yikes, Tyler got fucked up. Why is everyone just not acknowledging Edward's superhuman abilities? That is in all caps. Oh shit, she has to talk to a doctor? It's gonna be the vampire doctor, isn't it? Edward is just watching her? Why isn't this kid in school? No blood, no foul, and then he flashed his teeth? He's a vampire. I find Edward mildly entertaining sometimes. That's in caps, sometimes. Oh boy, here comes Vampire Doctor, in all caps. Why do all the vampires have pleasing voices? What does being a vampire have to do with your voice? Most of the school is in the waiting room? That's not how this works. All right, Bella. Can tell that Vampire Doctor is in on it. Good. She's not as much of a moron as I thought. Half the time, Edward is a fun in... I can't even read right now. Wait. Half the time, Edward is a fun and...
Yeah, it looks like it auto-corrected charismatic to care as magic.
Oh, yeah.
Char as magic. Edward's pretty char as magic.
I was going to say, I think charismatic. So half the time, Edward is a fun and charismatic character.
Char as magic.
The other half, he's fucking unbearable. Edward is kind of a gaslighting prick. Of course, she's not going to let you go. To let it go, you prick. You're obviously a vampire. Bella's going to end up being a tier 3 sub to Edward. That's it.
I almost thought about putting her on the simp vote.
I mean, she kind of. Oh, you should have.
Speaking of that, I have the results of our simp poll, Tara.
Heck yeah, let's look.
Who's ready for the results of our simp poll? It should be
Bella, number 1 simp for Edward.
I didn't put Bella on there.
I feel like that's a known thing, right?
So here's our first poll. Who was the ultimate simp? Remember, no spoilers. Simp Mike, Chess Club Eric, or Car Crash Tyler?
Okay.
With one vote was Chess Club Eric, which
understandable.
Actually, no, that was my vote to put the thing there. So no one voted for Chess Club Eric.
Oh.
2 people voted for Car Crash Tyler, and 11 people voted for Simp Mike.
I like
so
that.
So Simp Mike is the ultimate simp winner.
It's clear that he is the ultimate simp, if not for Bella and Edward being simps in themselves.
I still think he's the ultimate simp even with them. Finally, we got an action-packed show today.
Yeah, everybody gear up.
I want to thank everybody who's been rating us on iTunes.
Oh, yes.
You guys are really cool and awesome. We're going to read...
I think it's just awesome in general that people are reaching out. Like, It means a lot to hear things about this. Because I'm very not versed in the podcast world.
Tara's not a big podcaster.
Yeah.
But she is.
Yeah. Now, yeah.
Now you were like the ultimate podcaster. So this first, I'm going to read this rating and review from Miss Wine Rib. And we're going to read, if you guys review on Apple Podcasts, we will read your review. We're going to do one a week until we catch up.
Is that the only platform that will allow for
that is the only
like
podcasting platform that allows like actual written reviews.
Okay.
That I know of. Miss Wine Rib says, storytelling at its best. This is the type of podcast I'd binge on repeat. With just a handful of episodes, not seeking to revisit the Twilight series, I'm already hooked and wanting more. I love the way Tara highlights aspects of the story that I didn't consider and reframes it. And I can't get enough of Mike's fresh thoughts combined with little side stories.
Little side stories.
Basically taking us completely off track.
Yeah.
Just start listening and let Tara and Mike take you on a storytelling adventure. They are a hilarious duo and won't let you regret it.
Wow.
Or you won't regret it. The way I read it sounded way more sinister.
Won't let you regret it.
We won't let you regret it. No,
no
you
that
won't
was very
regret
nice.
it. Thank you, Miss Wine Rib. We appreciate it. You can always go review us on iTunes, guys. We appreciate all the support, the emails, the reviews, the tweets, the Discord love.
Yeah.
Voting
I've been
on the
trying
poll.
to interact more on Discord. I'm super busy with work, but I like when people reach out and ask different questions. Then I like actually have time to read through everything, you know?
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, it's time for Chapter 6, Tara. But first, I got to do my recap of Chapter 5.
Oh, yes. Do you remember what it's called?
You thought you were ready for Chapter 6. You were not.
Okay,
Chapter 5, Blood Type.
I literally still, to this day, do not know how you remember. Because, like, I've read these books a million times, and I could not even tell you that.
I've told you this every week, is that I edit it, and that's how I remember.
Oh, yeah. But still, my brain just can't handle the short-term memory,
well, my brain handles it fine.
But, I was talking to your sister, actually, about how that blood typing chapter, that whole chapter, I probably said this when we recorded, but I don't remember if I did. That whole chapter is not in the movie.
Oh, they took that whole thing out?
The whole thing is in there.
Isn't just said, crazy? Not important.
Yeah. And I'm
you already understand that he's a vampire because you're not an idiot, so we don't need to like clue you in by making sure he doesn't show up on Blood Type.
Well, I'm kind of sad about it because I feel like it kind of starts like the more human like conversation relationship that they have, like because they actually converse so much in that chapter that when they take it out, it makes the movie kind of awkward almost in a way.
Like almost like he's hypnotizing her into becoming in love with him as opposed to
sure. No,
she's like, shut up about that theory already.
But it's funny because I'm in the I'm in the Twilight TikTok realm because I like them so much.
Uh-huh.
And this person like went to the filming locations and did their own like I don't even know, like summary film thing of like different scenes that were in the book but not in the movie.
Oh.
But it wasn't like full on acting, it was just like flashes of different
Right.
scenes. And it was so cool because the blood typing was in that. Like they somehow did it. But it was I don't know. I just was like, dang, and maybe they should redo the movie and just do every single aspect.
But
this
with the
time.
same actors?
Yeah. Oh, also on another side note, because this is just gonna be a crazy.
I'm the one that does side notes.
This is just gonna be a crazy side note podcast before you start summarizing. Is Jenny, I mean my sister.
Your sister Jenny.
She lives in downtown Chicago. And she got
Way to
picked.
dox her.
Well, that could be anywhere.
I was just kidding. You didn't really dox her. You guys should have seen Tara's face. She got so nervous that she actually doxed her sister.
I was like, oh God.
She was like, oh God, I just said her address. No.
But she got pictures, or there were pictures taken by right under like where she lives yesterday of the new Batman movie being recorded there. And I was like, dang it, I need to go down there and
emo Batman
and go see Rob Pattinson. Like I need to go.
Yeah.
Then apparently there were like all like the Gotham police cars.
Oh, that's
there
cool.
And stuff like underneath where the trains are, like with the loop.
Yeah, they tend to use Chicago because of that iconic train loop.
Yeah.
It's pretty. It looks like
what the Gotham would be.
Right. Gotham's usually based off New York a lot of times, but Chicago fits the bill because it's easier to film in than New York.
Can you imagine me just going down there trying to look for Robert?
Yeah,
Pattinson?
I can imagine you doing that, and that would be really funny, actually.
I would be like, it would be pretty crazy because, first of all, I would never go up. You know me, I never go up to famous people.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm too nervous to say anything because I think I'm going to say something stupid. But also because I'd want to be like, I have this podcast where I talk about Twilight, but he'd be like, this is the stupidest thing.
Will you come on our podcast, Rob? You heard it here first, folks. Tara's going to go to Chicago, hunt down Robert Pattinson, and tie him up and bring him on our podcast.
I feel like
she didn't deny it.
I don't have anything to say about that.
Okay, chapter 5.
Anyways, chapter 5, blood type.
Blood type. So what happens in this chapter is Bella goes to school, and wait, did she ask him in this chapter, or did he ask her in this chapter to go to Seattle, Tara?
I'm thinking.
Or was that the end of chapter 4?
I think that was the end of chapter 4. I'm just reviewing. Because it's so funny, I've read this a million times, but it all just blends together for me.
Anyway, moving on. They might have talked before, but then she goes to class, and she finds out he's not going to class because it's blood typing day, but he doesn't say that's why. He just says he's not going. She shows up, it's blood typing day, so then Simp Mike is like the teacher's pet, and he's like doing like the...
Oh yeah, the Seattle was at the end of the other
Okay,
chapter.
That's what I thought. So... he's doing the demonstration of pricking the finger for the blood and blah, blah, blah. Well, Bella gets a little queasy seeing all the blood. And so she starts to faint, and Simp Mike's supposed to take her to the nurse's office. But then Edward comes out of nowhere and picks up Bella, and she remarks that it's with his strong arms.
With his strong arms.
Like she weighed nothing in his strong arms. And brings her to the nurse's office, where he kind of charms the pants off the nurse, too. The nurse is kind of like,
ooh, baby.
Whew. This might be statutory, but she's into it.
Oh, my God.
Actually, how old is Edward? Oh, I guess he's older than he... How old is he claiming to be?
17.
Yes, that's statutory. I don't know what the rules are in Forks, Washington, but around here, that is illegal.
Anyways. I don't want to talk about that. That's weird.
She regains consciousness, and she's like, oh, I get queasy at blood, and he laughs at that because he's a vampire. And then...
it's like, so fucking ironic. Right?
Simp Mike shows up with another student who's, like, getting faint, but I think he probably made them go to the nurse's office to, like, check on Bella and Edward. And Edward just gets the nurse to excuse her out of her gym class so he can take her to her house.
Mm-hmm.
So on the way there, they have a lot of conversation. He asks about
the
Bella's
family,
mom
yeah.
and her stepdad, and he says some weird things again about him being dangerous because he's a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
And then they just chat for a while, and I don't remember if there was anything important they said.
Yeah, at the end, she tries to invite him to go to the
That's
beach.
right. She's supposed to go to the beach, and she tries to invite him.
And he's like, well, I can't go because I'm going hiking, but don't be offended. Just try not to fall into the ocean or get run over.
Yeah, he says the most, like, creepiest, like, weird behavior, male controlling behavior, where he says, can you do me a favor and try not to get yourself hurt this weekend? You know, like that kind of weird controlling shit.
She slams the door, and then he was still smiling as he drove away.
So not a whole lot happened that chapter.
No, but I feel like...
But it was a lot of conversation between the two of them, and it was a good setup for their relationship.
That's why I really like rereading it, is because I feel like it makes him seem more human. Like, he's actually interested in her life.
He's actually not human, though. Terry just confirmed it.
I said it makes him... I mean, even if he was
confirmed. Tara spoiled Twilight for everybody. Edward's a vampire. Everybody. This next chapter is going to be called...
Oh, shit. I have it, like, open right here.
It's going to be called... Beach.
No.
Oh.
Ready?
Yeah.
Chapter 6. Scary Stories.
Oh, so they're going to be at the beach, and they're going to tell spooky stories, and Robert's actually going to show up. I keep calling him Robert, not Edward. Our Pat.
Is that your prediction?
Yeah, my prediction is that they're going to be telling spooky stories, and he's actually going to show up, and he's going to suck the blood from Simp Mike. Tara.
Yes.
Are you ready to drag me, kicking and screaming, with while I'm holding my garlic and my wooden stake, ready to stab any vampires into the world of Twilight?
Yes.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Are you ready to be coached?
Coach me.
Let's do this.
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go.
Chapter 6.
First, I just want to say, as a kind of a pre-spoiler, this is the chapter where we meet Jacob Black for real. All right, here we go.
Jacob Black from Hudsonville, Michigan?
Yeah.
Oh.
Actually, I knew a friend.
I mean, not in the story, but the actor.
The actor, Taylor Lautner.
Taylor Lautner.
Yes. He's
a,
from nearby where we live.
Yeah, a city. I mean, Hudsonville's technically like a suburb of Grand Rapids, right?
Yeah, are we telling everyone where we live?
I've told people we're from Grand Rapids before.
Cool, yeah.
But that's not really where we're from. They don't know we're really from Otsego.
JK, we're from Grand Rapids.
Tara, you ruined the joke. Anyway, Taylor Lautner.
But yeah, he's from like a suburb of Grand Rapids. And I have actually a friend that went to preschool with him.
He looks like the kind of douchebag guy that goes to Hudsonville. Just want to say.
Oh, I don't think he looks like a douche.
Oh, someone over here is Team Jacob.
No, I'm Team Edward. Anyways, so the chapter begins. She's sitting in her room after that whole ordeal of the blood typing today, in the book, you know?
Yes, today.
And she was listening to see, like, because, Alice was supposed to go get her truck because she left her truck at school.
Right.
She was listening to see, like, if she would hear it, but it was raining and she didn't hear it, but she looked out the window and it was there. So she's like, I didn't even hear her bring my truck home.
Alice fucking picked up the truck above her head and just walked it down the road and then set it down.
That theory's never been confirmed, but I would not doubt that.
So Alice just like was spinning it on her finger.
That'd be funny. And it talks about how she wasn't looking forward to Friday, which I think is the day that they go to the beach. Wait.
I'd assume that's what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Unless that's the day of the dance.
No.
But the beach comes before the dance.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The Sadie Hawkins.
Oh, I think she's saying, like, well, I wasn't looking forward to Friday, and it lived up to her non-expectations because she got, like, a lot of comments about fainting.
Oh, so she wasn't looking forward to going to school because everybody was going to make fun of her.
Of course. So she fainted on a Thursday. She wasn't looking forward to Friday because she fainted all over the place, and people are like, oh, are you okay? Anyways, it says, luckily Mike had kept his mouth shut and no one seemed to know about Edward's involvement, but she did have a lot of questions during lunchtime. And Jessica asks, so what did Edward Cullen want yesterday? I don't know, I answered truthfully. He never really got to the point. You looked kind of mad, she fished. Did I? I kept my expression blank. You know, I've never seen him sit with anyone but his family before. That was weird. Oh, yeah, because they had lunch together.
Yeah, I forgot that part in my recap. They had lunch together.
Yep.
And he did the weird creepy finger thing.
Yeah, he did. And she was like, Bella just agrees and is like, yeah, weird. But then it says the worst part about Friday was that even though I knew he wasn't going to be there, I still hoped.
Mm-hmm.
But when she walked into the cafeteria, like, just Rosalie, Alice, and Jasper were all talking, and Edward and Emmett were not there, like he said, but still. And then she's at her regular lunch table, and they're talking about the beach weekend, beach weekend. And it says Mike was animated again, putting a great deal of trust in the local weatherman who promised sun tomorrow, which is like, rare in the Pacific Northwest.
Right.
But it was warmer today. Like it says, but it was warmer today, almost 60. Maybe the outing wouldn't be completely miserable, she says. Oh, I'm different. I'm from Phoenix. I like the 90-degree weather. Anyways. So it says that, like, it mentions that she was getting weird glances from her friend Lauren during lunch. And it's like another girl that just sits at the table. She's only been mentioned like one other time.
Okay.
He overhears her talking to Mike about her. She's like, so she's basically just like, why doesn't she just sit with the Cullens from now on? Like, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I don't really know what I did. And Mike's like, she's my friend. She sits with us. Mike loyally being loyal to his simping. He's like, she's my friend. She sits with us.
Hopefully
but
she'll like me one day.
Yeah, but she's like, I don't know why that even happened. Anyways.
Well, yeah, who the fuck is Lauren?
Just some bitch.
Mind your business, Lauren.
Right? Mind your biz.
Holy shit.
Right? Weird. Anyways, so she goes home and Charlie's super happy that she's like spending time with friends in La Push at the beach.
Right, so he can stay home by himself.
Right. And plus, like, he like
turn
knew
on Skinamax.
He like no. Oh God. I was just gonna go on, but like I just got so distracted.
Charlie doesn't like real porn. He likes Skinamax.
Jesus Christ. Anyways, moving on from that right now. He like he's been in the area her whole life, so he's like, oh, I know like all the kids because I know all their parents and stuff like that. So he's just like approving of like her new friends and everything. And she's like, I wonder if he would approve of my plan to go to Seattle with Edward Cullen in the next few weeks.
It sounds like he would because he was like super defensive about that. Those kids are damn miracles. And the doctor's so hot.
Right.
Makes me want to watch Skinamax.
God. So then she, Bella's always trying to point the conversation towards Edward.
Right.
So she's like, Dad, do you know of a place called Goat Rocks or something like that? I think it's south of Mount Rainier because, that's where he said he was hiking. Mm-hmm. And he says, yeah, why? And she says, some kids were talking about camping there. And he's like, it's not a very good place for camping. He sounded surprised. Too many bears. Most people go there during hunting season.
They go suck the blood of bears.
She said, oh.
Do they make bear vampires? Vampires?
So she says, oh, maybe I got the name wrong. Just casual conversations with Dad.
Vampires?
Vampires? Can you draw that for me?
Vambears?
Vambears.
I don't like either of those.
Okay. Well, we can keep brainstorming that at a different hour. Anyways. She wakes up and she has to go meet everyone so Mike's dad owns like the sporting goods store in town. Yep. So she has to go there to meet them. And Mike drives and Mike and Tyler are both driving a group of people.
They're letting Tyler drive?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Holy shit, guys.
And she says like Eric is there along with two other boys that she had class with. And she was fairly sure their names were Ben and Connor. And then Jess was there. So Jessica and Angela and Lauren. And then 3 other girls stood with them, including one she remembered falling over Jim on Friday. And then that one she says, that one gave me a dirty look as I got out of the truck and whispered something to Lauren. Lauren shook out her blonde hair and eyed me scornfully. So it was going to be one of those days. So it's like kind of drama.
I don't know if I've come up with a good bear vampire combo, but if there was like a head one, he would be Bracula.
Oh, yeah. I said to think of it at a later time, not right now.
Oh, I thought you meant during the podcast. Sorry.
I'm still listening. I do like Bracula, though.
Bracula, and he's like, rah.
Isn't that what bears usually sound like?
But it was more like blah, but it was also like blah. And he's got a cape.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Thanks for that. I enjoyed that. She says, at least Mike was happy to see me. You came, he called, delighted. And I said it would be sunny today, didn't I? I told you I was coming, I reminded him. We're just waiting for Lee and Samantha. Unless you invited someone, Mike added. Nope, I lied lightly, hoping I wouldn't get caught in the lie, but also wishing that a miracle would occur and Edward would appear. Mike looked satisfied. Will you ride in my car? It's that or Lee's mom's minivan. Sure. So I guess Tyler wasn't driving. He was just there with his car.
Oh, well, who's driving the minivan?
Lee's mom's minivan is Lee's probably driving it.
I thought Tyler was driving Lee's mom's minivan, and I was like, that's still a bad idea, guys.
Still bad. He smiled blissfully. It was so easy to make Mike happy. You can have shotgun, he promised. I hid my chagrin. Yeah. It wasn't as simple to make Mike and Jessica happy at the same time. I could see Jessica glowering at us now. It says,
Simp Mike.
The numbers worked out in my favor, though. Lee brought 2 extra people, and suddenly every seat was necessary. I managed to wedge Jess in between Mike and me in the front seat of the Suburban.
Nice.
Heck yeah. It says Mike could have been more graceful about it, but at least Jess seemed appeased. So it's just, it's a constant battle, Who do you make happy? Which friend? It's always Jess is the answer.
Yeah, I mean, why would you want to make Simp Mike happy?
You don't want to make him too happy.
Well, you just want him to go away.
Right. You just want him to be your friend.
You
but
want
not
him to tier 3 subscribe, but you don't want to give out your phone number.
Right.
You don't want to make him a mod.
No. Anyway, so it's only 15 miles from Forks to La Push, so they're, making their way over to La Push Beach. So it says, I'd been to the beaches around La Push many times during my Forks summers with Charlie, so the mile-long crescent of First Beach was familiar to me. So I think they're at First Beach, which is a part of La Push Beach, or La Push as a whole. So she basically describes how she really likes it there, like how it's super gray, but there's like a bunch of different things to see and big driftwood trees, and it's just a nice time.
Yeah, it's a good place to be.
We picked our way down to the beach, Mike leading the way to a ring of driftwood logs that had obviously been used for parties like ours before. There was a fire circle already in place filled with black ashes. Eric and the boy I thought was named Ben gathered broken branches of driftwood from the drier piles against the forest edge. So basically, when you're picturing the beach, the forest is leading up to the beach, and then it's all beach.
Right.
But it's just it's different than here because it's forest beach.
Right.
Because I feel like a lot of Big Michigan, it's
on the lakes.
It's woods, but it's not forest.
Yeah.
Deep forest.
Right. That's just a beach.
Mm-hmm. And then Mike asks her, "Have you ever seen a driftwood fire?" And she says, "No." And he says, "You'll like this then. Watch the colors." And then I don't know if you've ever seen it before, but I have. But driftwood burns blue and green.
Why is
flames.
That?
I think
is there
it's
iron in it or copper?
I think it might have to do with the salt. The salt.
Oh
water?
Yeah, it could be the salt.
But I'm not positive. I've seen them before. I don't remember where, but not here in Lake Michigan. I don't think it does the same. Maybe something else.
Why does driftwood burn blue?
It's a blue and green. Oh, yeah, it actually says it right in it. I'm not paying attention. It says the salt does it. Pretty, isn't it?
Driftwood, especially from oceans, will produce blue and lavender flame. Applewood, when it is aged 4 or 5 years, will burn with rainbow-colored flames.
Ooh, fun.
So burn some apple wood, ladies and gentlemen. And you'll get the rainbow color flame. What?
I was going to say something about Smokey the Bear, but I couldn't think of anything clever. I was trying to put Smokey the Bear together with Bracula, but I couldn't think of anything. It just was a long pause.
Smokey the Bracula. Only you can prevent forest fires. Blah. A
PSA from the Department of
forest
Forestry.
conscious Lord of the Vampires, who's also a bear.
Smokey Bracula.
We have created the ultimate original character. You're welcome. I'd like all fan art drawn and sent to us.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yes.
Moving on. So it says, after a half hour of chatter, some of the boys wanted to hike to the nearby tidal pools. It was a dilemma. On the one hand, I loved the tide pools. They had fascinated me since I was a child. On the other hand, I'd also fallen into them a lot because clumsy.
Oh, so
She's
clumsy.
always has to.
She's so flippin' clumsy.
She is just so flipping clumsy. Not a big deal when you're 7 and with your dad to fall into them. It reminded me, though, of Edward's request that I not fall into the ocean.
He did request that.
It says Lauren was the one that made her decision for her. She didn't want to hike, so when she stayed behind, she was like, well, I guess I'll go, I'll commit to the like hiking group. And Mike saw that she was going with the hiking group and was like super excited about that because he's Simp Mike,
Right.
Therefore proving our poll to be correct.
That
this whole chapter is Simp Mike.
The ultimate simp.
Mm-hmm. And they're just hanging out and they're going to the tide pools and she describes that, but then they go back and they notice that when they got back to First Beach, the group that they'd left behind had multiplied. And so I'm just going to describe this whole part. It says, as we got closer, we could see the shining, straight black hair and copper skin of the newcomers, teenagers from the reservation that came to socialize. The food was already being passed around, and the boys hurried to claim a share while Eric introduced us as we each entered the driftwood circle. Angel and I were the last to arrive, and as Eric said our names, I noticed a younger boy sitting on the stones near the fire glance up at me in interest. I sat down next to Angela, and Mike brought us sandwiches and an array of sodas to choose from, while a boy who looked to be the oldest of the visitors rattled off the names of the 7 others with him. All I caught was that one of the girls was also named Jessica, and the boy who noticed me was named Jacob. It was relaxing to sit with Angela, blah, 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 blah. She, talks about how Angela is, the most relaxing person to be around. So
okay.
She's, the most fond of Angela.
Okay.
Just because...
Even more than Jessica?
Yes, because, Jessica, is kind of just a little dramatic.
Well, and she's trying to, be mad at her for what Simp Mike does, when she should be mad at Simp Mike.
Right. But she also just feels, relaxed with her because Angela doesn't feel the need to, fill the space with, empty chatter.
Okay.
She's just,
She just chills.
She just chills,
Like it.
So it just describes how they, are hanging out still at the beach and they're eating and the sun is starting to go away, but they start to people start to drift away in 2s and 3s. So Mike and Jessica are head up to a shop in the village, and Lauren and Tyler are occupying themselves with the CD player, and so then it leaves just a few people, and Jacob is included with that, and he comes over. I'll just read this next part too because it's just very descriptive and I feel like it's pretty important.
Well, we're learning about Jacob.
Yes.
We need to be descriptive.
Yes. It says, a few minutes after Angela left with the hikers, Jacob sauntered over to take her place by my side. He looked 14, maybe 15, and had long, glossy black hair pulled back with a rubber band at the nape of his neck. His skin was beautiful, silky, and russet colored. His eyes were dark, set above the high planes of his cheekbones. He still had just a hint of childish roundness left around his chin. Altogether, a very pretty face. However, my positive opinion of his looks was damaged by the first words out of his mouth. You're Isabella Swan, aren't you? She hates it.
Right. Right. She needs to be called Bella.
Yeah, she's it was like the first day of school all over again. Bella, I sighed. I'm Jacob Black. He held his hand out in a friendly gesture. You bought my dad's truck. Oh, I said, relieved, shaking his sleek hand. You're Billy's son. I probably should remember you. No, I'm the youngest of the family. You would remember my older sisters, Rachel and Rebecca, I suddenly realized.
Rebecca Black?
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Like Friday,
Yeah,
Rebecca Black?
isn't that funny?
Is it her?
No, it's not her.
It's her, isn't it?
No, it's not her.
Are you sure?
I don't know. I can't confirm. Charlie and Billy had thrown us together a lot during my visits as a child to keep us busy while they fished. We were all too shy to make much progress as friends. Of course, I'd kicked up enough tantrums to end the fishing trips by the time I was 11. So, like, he would just take her along, basically.
Right.
Are they here? I examined the girls at the ocean's edge, wondering if I would recognize them now. No, Jacob said, shook his head. Rachel got a scholarship to Washington State, and Rebecca married a Samoan surfer. She lives in Hawaii now. Married, wow, I was stunned. The twins were only a little over a year than I was. So how do you like the truck? He asked. I love it. It runs great. Yeah, but it's really slow, he laughed. I was so relieved when Charlie bought it. My dad wouldn't let me work on building another car when we had a perfectly good vehicle right there. It's not that slow, I objected. Have you ever tried to go over 60? No, I admitted. Good. Don't, he grinned. I couldn't help grinning back. It does great in a collision, I offered in my truck's defense. I don't think a tank could take out that old monster, he agreed with another laugh. So then it just talks about, they're continuing a conversation about building cars. What are you laughing about?
Can I say something?
Yes.
Already, they are written to have better chemistry than Bella and Edward do. I'm not saying I'm Team Jacob. I'm just saying already they are written to have better chemistry than the other two do. And I think it's Edward's fault.
You think that's Edward's fault?
I think it's Edward's fault. I think he's weird.
I think that he's just like so caught up in trying to like keep himself like secretive that he's not realizing that the chemistry isn't, that he's being kind of just like so sheltered off.
He's getting by on his looks.
Yeah, that's
Jacob
true.
Has the charisma.
You've not even heard anything about Jacob yet.
I like him.
Dang it.
I like him already, okay? I'm
Okay.
not saying I'm Team Jacob. I'm just saying balls in Jacob's court.
Okay, well, let me keep going because it's been 2 seconds of Jacob Black
It's
in
been
here.
2 seconds. I already want to ask Jacob's D.
Wow.
Just being real.
Anyways, so
Smokey the Bracula. Just wanted to reference him again.
got it.
Our mascot.
Our new mascot. So he talks about rebuilding cars. He's trying to rebuild a 1986 Volkswagen Rabbit right now.
Okay, he definitely lost it. You don't talk to a girl about rebuilding cars, dude.
Well, he's like, okay, I'll just read it because I think that you'll be fine with it. So she says, so you build cars? I asked, impressed. When I have free time and parts, you wouldn't happen to know where I could get my hands on a master cylinder for a 1986 Volkswagen Rabbit, he added jokingly. He had a pleasant, husky voice. Sorry, I laughed. I haven't seen any lately, but I'll keep my eyes open for you, as if I knew what that was. He was very easy to talk with. He flashed a brilliant smile, looking at me appreciatively in a way I was learning to recognize. I wasn't the only one who noticed. You know Bella, Jacob? Lauren asked in what I imagined was an insolent tone from across the fire. We've sort of known each other since I was born, he laughed, smiling at me again. How nice. She didn't sound like she thought it was nice at all, and her pale, fishy eyes narrowed. Fishy eyes? Weird. Anyways.
Is she a fish person?
I don't know.
Secretly?
She could be a mer person. I don't know.
A mermaid?
Yeah, maybe. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
There's mermaids in this book?
No, there isn't.
Oh.
Sorry. Hate to break it to you. So basically, she basically called. No. Okay. Just get rid of that notion.
Sorry.
She, like, Lauren's calling her out again. It was like, I was just saying to Tyler that it was too bad none of the Coens could come out today. Didn't anyone think to invite him or to invite them? Her expression of concern was unconvincing. You mean Dr. Carlisle Cullen's family? The tall, older boy asked before I could respond. Much to Lauren's irritation, he was really closer to a man than a boy, and his voice was very deep. Yes, do you know them? She asked condescendingly. The Cullens don't come here, he said in a tone that closed the subject, ignoring her question.
Oh no.
Yeah.
They're werewolves.
So then
They're all werewolves.
You don't know anything.
All of them.
So Lauren turns back to Tyler, blah, blah, blah. It says, I stared at the deep voiced boy, taken aback, but he was looking away toward the dark forest behind us. He'd said that the Cullens didn't come here, but his tone had implied something more, that they weren't allowed, they were prohibited. His manner left a strange impression on me, and I tried to ignore it without success. Jacob interrupted my meditation. I thought it said mediation, sorry. Meditation. So is Forks driving you insane yet? Oh, I'd say that's an understatement, I grimaced. He grinned understandingly. So she's still thinking about the comment, about the Cullens.
Mm-hmm.
I was still turning over the brief comment on the Cullens, and I had sudden inspiration. It was a stupid plan, but I didn't have any better ideas. I hoped that young Jacob was as yet inexperienced around girls, so that he wouldn't see through my sure-to-be pitiful attempts at flirting. Do you want to walk down the beach with me? I asked, trying to imitate that way Edward had of looking up from underneath his eyelashes. It couldn't have nearly the same effect, I was sure, but Jacob jumped up willingly enough. As we walked north across the multi-hued stones toward the driftwood seawall, the clouds finally closed across the sky, causing the sea to darken and the temperature to drop. So she says, so you're what, 16? I asked, trying not to look like an idiot as I fluttered my eyelids the way that I'd seen girls do on TV. I just turned 15, he confessed, flattered. Really? My face was full of false surprise. I would have thought you were older. I'm tall for my age, he explained. Do you come up to Forks much? I asked, as if I was hoping for a yes. I sounded idiotic to myself. I was afraid he would turn on me with disgust and accuse me of fraud, but he still seemed flattered. Not too much, he admitted with a frown, but when I get my car finished, I can go up as much as I want after I get my license. Who was that other boy Lauren was talking to? He seemed a little odd to be hanging out with us. Trying to make it clear that I preferred like she said, I purposefully lumped myself in with the youngsters, trying to make it clear that I preferred Jacob. That's Sam. He's 19, he informed me. What was that he was saying about the doctor's family? I asked innocently. The Cullens? Oh, they're not supposed to come onto the reservation. He looked away, out towards James Island, as he confirmed what I thought I'd heard in Sam's voice. Why not? He glanced back at me, biting his lip. Oops, I'm not supposed to say anything about that.
This here werewolf country. No vampires allowed here.
Oh, I won't tell anyone. I'm just curious. I tried to make my smile alluring, wondering if I was laying it on too thick. So awkward. He smiled back, though, looking allured.
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 I'm a little allured right now.
Allured.
You're allured.
I can't say that word any better than that.
Allured.
Allured. Then he lifted one eyebrow and his voice was even huskier than before. Do you like scary stories? He asked ominously. I love them, I enthused, making an effort to smolder at him. So it just describes where they're walking, and he says, do you know any of our old stories about where we came from? I never know how to say this, so I'm going to butcher the name of their tribe. But I think it's Quileutes.
Well, how's it spelled? Quileute. Yep, you're right. Quileute.
Okay.
Quileute.
So it says, do you know any of our old stories about where we came from? The Quileute, I mean? He began. Not really, I admitted. Well, there are a lot of legends, some of them claiming to date back to the flood. Like, I'm thinking
like Noah?
Yeah, like Noah and the Ark flood.
Noah and the Ark?
Supposedly, the ancient Quileutes tied their canoes to the tops of the tallest trees on the mountain to survive like Noah and the Ark. He smiled to show me how little stock he put in the histories. Another legend claims that we descended from wolves, and that the wolves are our brothers still. It's against tribal law to kill them. Then there are stories about the cold ones. His voice dropped a little lower. The cold ones, I asked, not faking my intrigue now.
Crack open a cold one.
Yes.
Miller Lite.
The Miller Lite.
Crack open a cold Miller Lite.
Anyway.
Chug it.
Yes.
Chug one.
Stop. God, I can't read it when you say that. Yes, there are stories of the cold ones as old as the wolf legends, and some much more recent. According to legend, my own great-grandfather knew some of them. He was the one who made the treaty that kept them off our land. Your great-grandfather, I encouraged. He was a tribal elder, just like my father. You see, the cold ones are the natural enemies of the wolf. Well, not the wolf, really, but the wolves that turn into men, like our ancestors. You would call them werewolves. Werewolves have enemies? Only one. I stared at him earnestly, hoping to disguise my impatience as admiration. So you see, Jacob continued, the cold ones are traditionally our enemies, but this pack that came to our territory during my great-grandfather's time was different. They didn't hunt the others the way others of their kind did. They weren't supposed to be dangerous to the tribe. So my great-grandfather made a truce with them. If they would promise to stay off our lands, we wouldn't expose them to the palefaces, which are humans. If they weren't dangerous, then why? I tried to understand, struggling not to let him see how seriously I was considering his ghost story. There's always a risk for humans to be around the cold ones, even if they're civilized like this clan was. You never know when they might get too hungry to resist. He deliberately worked a thick edge of menace into his tone. What do you mean civilized? They claimed that they didn't hunt humans. They supposedly were somehow able to prey on animals instead. I tried to keep my voice casual. So how does it fit in with the Cullens? Are they like the cold ones your great-grandfather met? No, he paused dramatically. They're the same ones.
Dun, dun, dun.
He must have thought that the expression on my face was fear inspired by his story, because he continued. There are more of them now, a new female and a new male, but the rest are the same. In my great-grandfather's time, they already knew of the leader, Carlisle. He'd been here and gone before your people had even arrived. He was fighting a smile. And what are they? I finally asked. What are the cold ones? He smiled darkly. Blood drinkers. He replied in a chilling voice. Your people call them vampires.
Crack open a cold one.
I stared out at the rough surf after he answered, not sure of what my face was exposing. You have goosebumps, he laughed delightedly. You're a good storyteller, I complimented him. Pretty crazy stuff though, isn't it? No wonder my dad doesn't want us to talk about it with anyone. And she's like, don't worry, I won't give it away. He said, I guess I just violated the treaty. He's like, no big deal.
NBD.
She says, I'll take it to the grave, I promised, and then I shivered. Seriously though, don't say anything to Charlie. He was pretty mad at my dad when he heard that some of us weren't going to the hospital since Dr. Cullen started working there. I won't, of course not. So do you think we're a bunch of superstitious natives or what? He asked in a playful tone, but with a hint of worry. No, I think you're very good at telling scary stories, though. I still have goosebumps, see? And he's like, cool.
Cool.
So, like, Jacob...
So do you, like, want to make out?
So, like, Jacob thinks that, like, it's just literally just legends.
Right.
Like, literally just legends. But then they head back, and Mike's like, oh my God, there you are. And Jacob's like, is that your boyfriend? Alerted by the jealous edge in Mike's voice. And she's like, no, definitely not. And
Mike's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh no!
But she whispered it to him.
Oh.
And he says, so when I get my license, she's like, yeah, you should come see me in Forks. We could hang out sometime. I felt guilty as I said this, knowing that I'd used him, but I really did like Jacob. He was someone I could easily be friends with. I don't know.
Or more.
So then she just explains that Jacob was just telling her local stories, and Mike's like, well, we're packing up. It looks like it's going to rain soon. And then Jacob's like, it was nice to see you again. And she's like, yeah, it really was. Next time Charlie comes down to see Billy, I'll come too. And he says, that'll be cool. So they're like buds now.
They're buds.
But he's like, he's simping too. He's kind of a part of the simp crowd now.
I just told you the story, so can we make out?
Yeah.
And she's like, no.
Yeah, she's like, nah.
You're 15, dude. That's weird.
Right? And she's 17?
Yes.
Yeah, she's 17.
17.
Oh, yeah. So just like basically they're heading home, and she sits in the back seat to like contemplate everything that had happened.
Because she
So that-
believes him because
So I could
she's seen
simply-
what Edward's done.
So I could simply lay my head back on the seat and close my eyes and try very hard not to think. And that's the end of the chapter.
Wow.
Pretty crazy. So,
Yeah, so
any
it's-
thought? Ooh, shit. Sorry. Any thoughts?
It's interesting. I wondered how they were going to do the reveal that he's a
Mhm.
vampire. And,
I mean, it's
my
still
two
not
thoughts-
fully revealed.
well, right. But my two
But-
thoughts were that she was going to show up somewhere, there'd be a bunch of vampires, whatever.
hmm
And then this is the other way I thought that there's going to be, was that there was going to be a, like, another character that kind of revealed in a ghost story where he thought he was like basically what happened. He thinks
Yeah.
it's not real, but she's saying it and
Mhm.
she goes, oh, this is real because Edward did this shit or whatever.
hmm
So that's interesting. I
Did
like.
you enjoy it? How it was kind of set up?
Yeah, I think it's cool. It makes sense because I know that later, one of the few things I do know about this book series is they do pit the vampires versus the werewolves, and that's something that I didn't know if that was because of Bella personally, or if that was because they've always had a rivalry and always been kind of.
Yes. Now you know it's an old
Now I
legend
know
that
it's an
they're
old
like
legend.
just enemies.
Also, something I thought was interesting. He said you like scary stories to her, right?
Mhm.
And it made me think of in Pirates of the Caribbean when Barbossa's like, "Do you like ghost stories, Miss Swan?
Oh,
Because
yeah?
you're in one." And her
'Cause
name's
you're
Swan
in-
too.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
weird.
isn't that crazy?
I never thought about that.
Do you like ghost stories, Miss Swan? 'Cause you're in one. And he drinks the liquor and it goes down his whole body.
Yeah.
He's like, "Ah,
Oh my God.
Barbossa."
It literally could fit into both of these scenarios:
Yeah, I
Pirates
know.
of the Caribbean and Twilight.
So that's what it made me think of. But no, I thought it was a very. I think we're finally rolling.
Yes, we're rolling, and I'm
rolling.
really enjoying it because like this is the stuff.
This
know?
is the shit that you like.
This is the
This
stuff.
is the reason you like these
Yeah.
books.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Well, thank you, Tara. Just a reminder, everybody, you can reach us at cbterrapodcast@gmail.com,
Mhm.
on Twitter at cbterrapodcast,
Yes,
and you can review us on iTunes.
that'd be
and
lovely.
You can join our Discord, links in the description, and you can comment on YouTube. You can do all that stuff to reach out to us. If you have anything you want to add, say. Remember, try to keep spoilers away from me so I don't get spoiled. But
for the whole series.
for the whole Twilight series, yes. And hope you're enjoying this. Tara, anything you want to say before we go?
No, just thank you so much for everyone giving us great comments and support.
Yes.
I really do need it.
Shout outs to our boy Smokey the Bracula,
Our new mascot.
our new mascot Smokey the Bracula, who is again Smokey the Bear mixed with Dracula.
But also a bear. Yeah, that is a vampire. Yes.
Well, that's what
Yeah, you're right.
Smokey the Bracula.
I don't know why your description didn't make sense.
There's like, wait,
to
there's
me.
3 parts though.
there's like
Wait, though, there's 3
Smokey
parts.
the bear and a vampire and
Bear plus vampire just equals Bracula.
Right.
Smokey the bear plus vampire equals Smokey the Bracula.
I promise I'm okay.
And I just want to say I hope everybody at home, based on today's episode, crack open a cold one. And be one of the cold ones, Miller Lite. This podcast sponsored by Miller Lite. It's not. Anyway, Tara, thank you for coaching me.
You're welcome.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.